Many of my clients complain that they have such a big workload. It's always more to do than what they have time for. How on earth shall I get through the day? I am not taking on anything else. Isn't anybody else working in this place? They say. Where shall I start? And that's the critical question. Where shall I start? They live through their days by doing things, whatever comes in front of their eyes, and they do it because it's easy and they get rid of it. And then they see the next thing and they do that and get rid of it. It's easy. And then someone comes and demands that they should do something else, and all of a sudden they are in somebody else's agenda and they do that because something gets done. But it's not what they really want. They get sidetracked all the time. Can you recognize? This is how it goes on day after day, and they get more behind, and they start the important work to work with the important things in the evenings at home after the kids have gone to bed. So that's not what they thought they would do. But that's the only time they can work undisturbed. But does it have to be like this? Most of my clients dream of having a possibility to do the work in the daytime at the workplace. Meet my client Eliza. She had it just like I described before. She's only 35 but a very skilled leader. She has a work group of 19 people, and she says it's a little bit too much. And at home she has a hubby and twins of 10 years old. So what could she do? We used just one simple but very effective tool to settle her situation. This tool is in its simplicity almost genial. It's so easy to use, and it doesn't demand any stuff that you have to, or material or special tools or anything. You just need a piece of paper and a pen. And this is not an original Dr. Annika invention, but something that I have seen in so many leadership programs. And since it's so simple and it really takes the stress away, I find it very good for my de-stress work. So it's perfect for the overwhelmed. So what is it? It has 3 steps. First thing in the morning, or you can do it in the evening before, you write down a list of everything you need to do that day, big or small. Just put it down as it comes out of your head, brain dump. So it is easy. Secondly, now the work begins. You go through your tasks and you see if they are important or not, and you see if they are urgent or not. And that makes 4 boxes. The first box is important and urgent. The second box is important but not so urgent. The third box is not important but urgent. And the fourth one is not important and not so urgent. To make it easy, you can have a template with those written down so you know which one is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you just put the number after the tasks. You put now you have a list and you have a number on each thing on the list, and then you structure in the third step. You structure them into these groups of 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you take the group 4, the not important and not urgent stuff, and you delegate it, or you can even delete it because it might not even need to be done if it's not important and not urgent, because it could be things that people just do because we always have done like that and no one really reflects about it. Then you have the group number 3 that is urgent but not so important, and that one could also be delegated or deleted. Maybe there are things that don't need to be done. And now you're set for your work, because now you're taking away all the stuff that you don't need to do, that you don't need to do. And you have the rest of the list. And we start with the number 1, and those were the urgent and important, because they will bring your business group forward. And when you've done those, you can do the ones in number 2, the ones that are important but not so urgent. And this is the group where usually it's a little bit more difficult things end up, because they are not urgent, they don't get done, but they are needed to move your business or your work group forward. So they are very important. So you just have to start doing them. So they come as the number 2. And of course you will get interrupted during the days. That happens in every workplace. But when you work with this way of looking at the tasks, then you can more easily say if it's a task that you're going to take, or if you're going to say no, or if you're going to give it to somebody else. And then you keep working during the day, and the next day you do the same thing, and the next day you do the same thing. You make your list, you make your priority list, and then you delegate or you delete. And after a while there will not be so many things in the delete or the delegate box, because if you don't focus on them, they are kind of going to vanish by themselves. And it took Eliza just about 4 weeks to make this an automatic way of thinking. And she did this every morning, and her work group also learned this method. So altogether they became much more efficient, and they didn't do a lot of unnecessary work like they had done before. And she stopped working from home, at least for this reason. So a recap of what Liza did. Number 1, brain dump each morning, everything that needs to be done. Second, you sort it in important or not and urgent or not, and that gives the 4 categories that we talked about. And then the third part, you see the things in box number 3 and 4 are either deleted or delegated, and then you start working with the ones in the group 1 that are important and necessary, and then the number 2 that are important but not so urgent. So it really has to be done to move you forward. And then you keep this up every day, and it gets easier and easier and easier. So happy working. If you like this and want more free tips, then just click the link below. And if you know someone who would benefit from this information, feel free to share the link. Bye from Dr. Annika.